Okay, so I got asked the question about how to use jabs or applying pressure with jabs. I think the most important use of jabs come when your opponent is at a life bar that is like that. When your opponent has very low life bar, I think jabs are the most powerful thing that you could use. Now, a problem that I have, or that I had with Ken, was that for some reason I'm very afraid of advancing towards my opponent even when I have the life lead. Now, my bar is at 100% right now, but let's say in real tournament situation, my bar is at, let's say my bar is at 40%, right? It's at 40% and my opponent has V-trigger stocked up. One hit could it could cost me to lose the round. So oftentimes I'm going to be very scared to do this. I don't want to do that because I don't want to take the risk of getting hit into activation, into V-trigger, into blah blah blah. You lose the round. So I found myself being very scared and not advancing at my opponent, and somehow they get the V-trigger activated and I still end up losing the round. So I used to watch a lot of my matches and I started thinking about, well, when I have low life, it seems like my opponent is so confident against me when I have low life. And why is that? Well, I would watch a lot of my matches and I would see a lot of light buttons being pressed, a lot of these. And then a shimmy would come somewhere in there. And a really good example of that would be Punk. If you watch Punk play, he's like the master of doing light, light into shimmy, 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 grab into the KO. So, this is what I want to kind of discuss. When you have your opponent in a situation like this, let's say you just threw them and bam, they just woke up. This is, I think, the best time to do the walk-up jab tech. My walk-up jab tech is that I like to do 2 jabs. So I'll do 1 jab and then a walk-up jab, and that sets up the perfect throw or the perfect shimmy. So your opponent in this situation is very nervous. He's very scared because he's about to die. 1 throw, 1 shimmy is going to lead to the death. So what exactly is he supposed to do? Well, if you immediately establish a tiny step forward jab, he's immediately in block stun, and he's immediately in block mode in a defensive. Oh crap! He's. What do I do? But don't do it. Don't press button. Oh crap! Shimmy! Don't, you know. So he's in that mindset when you walk up, quick jab, especially when he's in that type of life deficit. So this is the thing that I like to do. That right there, that sequence I think is so powerful because you're not going too ham, but you're going ham enough. You know, you're not going overboard with, you know, you're doing it just the right amount, I think, because the first jab locks him down immediately, right? And either you can press a button right afterwards, so if he tries to interrupt, you can confirm or kill him. Or you could shimmy from that, or you could walk up throw. So the first jab has many options that come afterwards, but the reason why you do the second jab is to, I like doing it because I feel like it puts the opponent in a freeze state. I don't know how else to explain it, but in a freeze state. So I think this is your options when you're advancing against your opponent with jabs. I think this is one of the strongest things to do. That right there. Jab, walk up, jab, throw. But see, if you kill round 1 with your opponent, if you kill your opponent in round 1 with that specific sequence, jab, walk up, jab, throw, that leaves round 2 for this sequence. That leaves this sequence for round 2. Sorry. That leaves this sequence for round 2. Right there. You know? You get the jab, walk up, jab. You set the same exact button sequence with the lights, bam, bam, and then you shimmy. And then he's gonna get baited and take the throw. Now, against higher level players, it might take more than just jab, walk up, jab, shimmy, because you see Punk do this a lot. Oh, sorry, not the neutral jump. My apologies. He'll do this a lot. He'll do the double shimmy. Punk is notorious for doing the double shimmy. So you see, it has to be different for your opponent. So during the match, you're kind of getting an idea of what is my opponent's teching pattern. And a good way to actually do that is the first time that you get a knockdown on your opponent. Let's say you get a knockdown on your opponent. Do this sequence right here. Jab, throw. If they tech the throw, that means that they're quickly teching. They're early teching as soon as they have the opportunity to tech. So when you put your opponent in this situation again, you know that they're gonna take the throw right there, right? So you don't even have to do anything afterwards. You just press that one light and then shimmy, and then they're gonna try to throw tech, and you get the shimmy on them, and it's game over. But for those higher level players that have the mindset of just take the throw, they're more than likely not gonna tech the throw in the beginning of the round when you get that knockdown, and then you do walk up, jab, throw. You know, they're more likely gonna take the throw in that situation in the beginning of the round, the top player. So when the life bar is very crucial, you know that it's just an intense moment, and to apply more intensity upon them, this is a good way to do it. Jab, walk up, jab. You know, get that shimmy going. Jab, walk up, jab, shimmy, throw. Or jab, walk up, jab, shimmy, throw. Jab, walk up, jab, throw. Jab, walk up, jab, walk up, jab, walk up, jab, throw. It goes on and on and on, but it starts off with the double jab. I think the double jab is the safest, but also the most like pressure that you could put on your opponent. It's I say safest, but I don't mean that it's safe. Like the least riskiest approach that you could probably do in a situation like this. What you don't want to do is be scared. Right? What you don't want to be is scared in this situation, because you have the life lead and he is about to die in one hit. So, but then that goes into the other layer of, well, when do I take the risk if my opponent's in the corner? Because in the previous video that I had, I was talking about maintaining corner pressure and how it was stupid of me to advance at my opponent. So with those two layers of, is it stupid for me to advance against my opponent when he's in the corner and I have the life lead? And the layer of, I should end this now because my opponent has V-trigger and he's going to make a comeback on me if I don't, because I'm going to have to deal with a 50-50. So take the initiative to end it. Between these two layers, there is the middle layer of, what is your opponent doing? So from the start of the round one, you as the player are supposed to adapt and download what it is that your opponent is doing, the bad habits that your opponent has, and the certain sequences that you could do that will lead you to do a better decision when it comes time for, do I apply the corner, or do I wait in the corner for my opponent to mess up, or should I do the walk-up jab tech? These two layers are unlocked when the middle is being unlocked, when the downloading is happening. So if the download doesn't happen, you're faced with two situations that you could do, but you're so confused on which one to do, so you're not very confident in either one of these decisions. So let's say you stick with the, oh, I'm going to maintain the corner pressure by holding down back, but you're not confident in your corner pressure maintenance because you don't really know what your opponent is doing. But if you do know what your opponent's teching habits are, or just bad habits, what your opponent feels like he's going to do, what you feel like what your opponent wants to do, that makes the decision of, should I maintain this corner pressure by just playing this game And or should I do the walk-up jab tech to end the round? And because I know that he's scared, a lot easier, and it's a lot more, it's done with a lot more confidence. And that's very key to this game. So you wanna apply jabs like that. So that's what I have to say about that. Jab, walk up, jab, throw, jab, walk up, jab, three, shimmy, or the cycle can just go on and on depending on how patient your opponent is. You know, it just depends on how patient your opponent is. But I will add that the shimmy is going to work the best when your opponent has a life bar like that. Shimmies are going to work the best when your opponent has a life bar like that, because the throw is going to kill them. So you're more likely to get a shimmy out on your opponent. So while he's scared of even just pressing a button, taking the throw, teching the throw, with a life bar like that, you could really get away with the shimmy and pretty much anything. You just can't be scared. The lights are a good way to apply pressure without getting crush countered as well, you know, because your button is going to be quicker than his heavy normal that he might just randomly throw out. If you approach it with initiative, if you approach it with confidence, then by the time he even thinks about pressing that crush counter button, you've already jabbed him, you know? So by the time he's thinking about, oh, I need to press the heavy button into crush counter, into V-trigger activation, you've already put him in that quick block stun into that pressure mode. So you don't want your opponent to have the thought, like, okay, he's gonna have the thought, but you want to be already here. You want to be already here the second that he thinks about activating V-trigger. The second that he thinks about, I need to press a heavy button to activate my V-trigger, you already want to be here because you knew that he was already thinking about that. So yeah, hopefully that explained it well enough.